He's a salesman. He's trying to sell the fight, which is good, you know. That's what he's known for. That's why they bring him out over and over. I'll show you in the ring why I'm the world champion. There's no off season. 4th of July.
He's fighting that. Got Dennis, Quiet Storm Thompson. He's fighting on the card. First 8-rounder. Got Ishmael Muhammad, Chef Muhammad. He fighting the week before in Philly.
Yo, catch me.
Boots can adapt to any style, any situation, you know what I mean? We don't have to work on nothing.
And goal was, when I was to turn pro, I would win every belt, every weight division that I'm at. And we starting it now, so I'm gonna make them dreams come true. 10 years time, me, a retired, undefeated legend, chilling in my mansion in Jamaica somewhere.
As the biggest fight of their careers moves closer, Jaron, Boots Ennis, and Sebastian Fundora are heading toward a matchup that could completely shake up the 154-pound division. On the Porter Way podcast, Shawn Porter discussed the possibility of Fundora facing Ennis and explained why Fondora's recent performances have made him impossible to overlook. Porter believes the unified champion has proven himself to be a serious threat, and anyone expecting an easy night against him is failing to understand the challenges he creates in the ring.
Explain that, right? So let's just for the sake of the analogy, it's like you see, and we'll use Jamie Foxx as an example. That's my guy. So let's say Fox is one thing on screen, and then off screen he's a completely different person. You just don't know, you know. So on screen, Boots looks like he's supposed to beat Sebastian Fundora because he's so fast, because he's so electric, because he's shown tremendous power, because he's shown so many different movements and techniques, and everything jumps off the screen when it's Boots Ennis. But then when you got, like I always like to say, another weapon standing across from you, negating some of the things you do, forcing you to turn off some of the stuff you do. Now, here's the thing that makes these...
Shawn Porter pointed out that elite fighters should not be judged simply by what they look like on screen. Ennis may appear explosive, fast, and extremely powerful, but Porter believes facing a fighter with Fondora's dimensions is an entirely different test. Fondora's extreme height, unusual style, and ability to neutralize an opponent's strengths can force even top-level fighters to abandon their normal approach and adjust as the action develops.
Know about Boots? I don't know if they game plan. To me, it seems like Boots is like, and Dad Bozy, we just gonna get you ready. Can't nobody beat you. Well, sometimes you gotta get ready for the guy across from you. And what I now know about this dude, he getting ready for who's across from him. And that's why I'm breathing like that, because I know without a shadow of a doubt, he's going to be ready. He's going to have the right weapons, and he's going to be calling on the right weapons all night long. I have no doubt about that from this dude right here. And I know with all 16 plus weapons that Boots got, Boots be like this.
Yeah.
You know, you got to, nah, bruh. With this one right here, it's got to be, all right, shotgun. Don't do him. All right, stab him. All right, done. You know what I mean? Like, we got to be pulling out the right things at the right time. We got to be prepared to come to the ring with 8 weapons that we know we need against this dude, not 16 weapons because we got...
Porter stressed that natural talent alone cannot solve the problems presented by Sebastian Fundora. To beat the massive champion, a fighter needs a detailed strategy designed around the specific difficulties Fundora brings. Porter believes the key is not trying to showcase every ability in a boxer's arsenal, but identifying the most effective plan and executing it with discipline from the first bell all the way through the closing rounds.
To me, that's the difference between a Boots Ennis and a Sebastian Fundora. I don't know who will win that fight because all those weapons are amazing.
Yeah.
And at any point, any of those weapons could work against this dude. But this guy has the ability that I now know. He knows how to force you to turn off a lot of what you have. So I don't know. I don't know who wins that.
Shawn Porter repeated his belief that ability without the right strategy will not be enough against Sebastian Fundora. Defeating the tall, unified champion demands a carefully designed approach that takes his unusual style into account. Rather than attempting to rely on every weapon available, Porter says the boxer must find the tactics that work best against Fondora and then stick to them with control, discipline, and consistency for the entire fight.
Off screen and on screen. Then in person, you go, once it's fight night and he's across from you and throwing 60 punches, you go,
Yeah, that motherfucker.
is really tall.
Yeah,
He's really big,
and
it's different. It's different.
And you've sparred with heavyweights because they're that height, and you know, and it's just on fight night things are just a tad bit different. I will say this about Keith: I don't think he game planned.
Looking ahead, Jaron Boots Ennis has made his ambitions very clear. He wants to become the undisputed champion at 154 pounds. Ennis has pointed to unified champion Sebastian Fondora and British contender Josh Kelly as two opponents he would be willing to face. His focus is on securing meaningful fights that move him closer to collecting every major title in the junior middleweight division.
I feel like the better the fighter is, the better I'm gonna be. You know, the sharper I'm gonna be. So, you know, I'm here to collect these belts, and I want to be undisputed at 154, and I will be undisputed at 154. I didn't get to do it at 47, so the next best thing is Fondora or Kelly. And I feel like everybody want to see me and Fondora because
When discussing the opponents he could face next, Jaron Boots Ennis has suggested that Sebastian Fondora presents a bigger challenge than Virgil Ortiz Jr., while still acknowledging Ortiz's ability. Ennis feels his aggressive style could work well against Ortiz, but Fondora presents a completely different problem. His massive frame, extended reach, and unconventional style make him a difficult puzzle, which is why Ennis has identified Fondora as a major target in his pursuit of undisputed championship status.
You are still a star. What do you want to do next?
Man, I just want the best fights, no matter who it is. Jaron, Ennis, Fundora, anyone with the belt. There's really not anyone in the top 10 that I haven't fought or that I haven't tried to fight. At this point, people just need to take the fights, and a lot of people want to say, how come you haven't tried this route? Just because I'm not calling people out on social media like everyone else does, doesn't mean I'm telling my manager, hey, let's make this fight. That doesn't mean I'm not talking to the WBC like, hey, how come we haven't made this fight happen yet? You know what I mean? Like, we've done our part, I'm not a very vocal guy. Well, I'm starting to be, because I feel.
While discussing the highly anticipated fight with Jaron Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz Jr. said he has consistently instructed his team to pursue the matchup. Ortiz made it clear that he has been willing to move forward and suggested that the delay has not come from his side. From his perspective, the opportunity remains available, but the other camp has yet to fully accept the fight.
Do you see Fondora? Would you consider Fondora and Ortiz same level as Zayas, or do you think they're a step up?
To be honest, I think Zayas got a little bit more game to him than Virgil. You know what you get from Virgil. Virgil straight up and down. He gonna try to walk you down, and y'all know. Come on now, you can't just walk to me, cause I got heat. I got heat for you. So, and I think that makes, like, people gonna say it's a tailor-made fight for me. I feel like fighting a guy like Fondora, they're accepted more. You feel?
I give him the green light. It's only been one-sided green lights coming from out over here. The reason that the fight hasn't happened is simply because they haven't taken the fight.
As the interim WBC junior middleweight champion, Virgil Ortiz Jr. voiced his frustration over the uncertainty surrounding a potential title opportunity against Sebastian Fondora. Ortiz explained that he is still waiting for the sanctioning bodies to provide a clear path toward fighting for the full championship. The lack of a definite timeline has left him disappointed as he waits for clarity about what comes next.
On those rankings there, what is your message to the WBC about your availability to fight Fondora as early as this fall?
Well, we already called Mauricio Solomon, and we've asked for this fight before. We asked for it when in person, when we met with Golden Boy. We were on the phone side by side with Golden Boy with Mauricio, and we asked for the fight. I am also not going to pretend I know how it works either, because I thought that if you had the interim, you were next in line. So I mean, I'm just as confused as everybody else.
When you talked to Mauricio about that, what was his response?
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even really understand it because and it's not I don't know whose fault it is. Is it my fault? Am I just dumb? Or you know what I mean? Like I just don't get it. I just, for me it's just, for me it's simple. I have the interim, I should be in line, right? It's not I want to stay interim forever, right? Like I want my shot.
Eddie Hearn provided further details about the negotiations for a possible Jaron Boots Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz Jr. showdown. According to Hearn, both sides had already settled the major terms of the agreement, and Ennis went ahead and signed the contract under those conditions. But after Ennis's team communicated their proposed schedule for the fight, the situation suddenly changed. The opposing camp stopped responding, causing the negotiations to stall and preventing the matchup from progressing.
Clear on Virgil Ortiz. We sat in a room, me, Oscar de la Hoya, Eric Gomez, and the top DAZN execs in America. We talked about how a deal would work with those two fighters, and we agreed on a deal. We went away, we signed a new deal with Boots. Part of that deal, within the contract, was the deal that we agreed with Golden Boy and DAZN to fight Virgil Ortiz. Boots signed it. Now, we didn't hear anything back. We told them we're going to fight in October. They said they're going to fight in November, and we haven't heard.
Jaron Boots Ennis strongly pushed back against the idea that his team ever avoided Virgil Ortiz Jr. He maintained that they had made genuine efforts to arrange the fight when both fighters were still competing at welterweight. Ennis also remembered discussions from years earlier, when Ortiz's team expected the matchup to take place later in both fighters' careers. According to Boots, those previous conversations show that his side was never against making the fight happen.
Only, man, they was running their mouth saying certain things about this and all, but like I told them, you know, we've been wanting to fight Virgil at 147, and back then, that was like what, 3-4 years ago. Back then, they were saying 3-4 years down the line, they was going to be able to fight us. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and that's what they were saying. Oh yeah, your father. I never really talk about nobody ducking and all that stuff. But if you want to talk about somebody ducking, I'll tell them in a minute. You know what I mean? I said, yo, yeah, they don't look like we ducking. Yeah. You know what I mean? We've been trying to fight all them guys at that time. And everybody knew about that time, but they must.
Virgil Ortiz Jr. has acknowledged that several major opportunities have slipped away during his career, but he remains confident that his best years are still ahead. At 28, Ortiz believes he's entering the strongest stage of his career and remains determined to secure the biggest fights available. He wants to continue building his legacy regardless of the obstacles, delays, or politics that can sometimes surround professional boxing.
And climate, if I'm being honest, I just feel like I'm just knocking on the door of one of those big fights and I'm waiting on those opportunities. So that's exactly where I was 2 years ago. You know, I don't know. I feel like I'm almost like blacklisted in a way. You know what I mean? That's how I honestly feel, you know? When Madrimov had won his WBA title, I believe I was #1 and I should have fought him next. Obviously I beat him, right? But Crawford got to jump the line from 147, you know, being undisputed, and he got to win the title. Well, obviously from my point of view, that seems a little unfair. You know, I could have had that title. And I don't know, like in Sergio Mora's words, shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? So
Sebastian Fondora has also made it clear that he remains interested in facing the top names at 154 pounds. He specifically mentioned Jaron Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz Jr. as opponents he would be willing to fight. Fondora also suggested that one of those major matchups could potentially take place early next year, adding even more anticipation to the future of the division.
Up a little bit. So there's you, Josh Kelly, and now Boots with the belts. Out of those two, who would you want to fight first?
I'll bring whoever, man. We were in talks for Josh Kelly, but Josh Kelly wanted to fight in July in England and all these things, so that fight fell off. But I mean, by the time Boots became champion, unified champion, we already had this fight lined up with the mandatory. So, but I like both of those fights. I like both of them. Next year, well, we always been like the past 4 years been fighting in March. I'll see you guys in March. hit me up. I'll see you guys in March.
Chris Algieri describes Sebastian Fondora as one of the most difficult stylistic challenges in the junior middleweight division. He pointed to Fondora's extraordinary height and reach, while also noting the major improvements the champion has made since his victory over Brian Mendoza. Algieri believes Fondora has become more disciplined and polished, particularly with his jab, while doing a better job of avoiding the unnecessary risks that previously exposed him to danger.
He's so long, and he's getting better. He's improving. He's improving. He's learning how to use his size. He's using his jab. He's being more disciplined. He's not taking risks like he used to. Talk about a guy who used to allow people to hit him and then has figured out that you shouldn't do that at the highest level in that Brian Mendoza fight. But since then, he's been very, very good. So, yeah, I can understand why people would see him as the final guy because, again, with those physical advantages and the way that he's getting better, very, very...
Tim Bradley also praised Sebastian Fondora, highlighting both what the champion has accomplished and the difficult road he traveled to reach the top. Bradley believes Fondora has become such a dangerous opponent that some contenders may now be reluctant to step inside the ring with him. In Bradley's view, certain fighters could choose to wait and see whether Fondora begins to decline, rather than challenge him while he remains at the highest level of his career.
Love and respect for him because that man is from around my way. He's from around my way. He from the valley. I got none but respect for Fondora. They see the danger in fighting him right now. He's hot.
Chris Algieri also raised concerns about Virgil Ortiz Jr.'s recent lack of activity, explaining that extended periods away from competition can become a problem in such a demanding division. He mentioned fighters like Josh Kelly as examples of the high-level opposition waiting for Ortiz. At 154 pounds, Algieri emphasized, there is very little room for inactivity because every opponent can present a serious test.
Because you got sharks circling. And Jaron, with the level of talent he has, he can beat anybody on any given night. So, yeah, it's a really interesting time. And then even like I got another title list, Josh Kelly. Yeah. Very, very difficult style. And he knows what he is, he knows what he isn't. He will fight his fight. So he's a disciplined guy. He's got a lot of heart. He showed that in the Murtaza Liev win. So yeah, it's a lot of very good champions at 154. We got to see how they all match up because boxing.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest boxing news, interviews, and detailed fight analysis.